Have you ever wondered about the potential impact of the hMPV virus? Unbeknownst to many, a new health alert has emerged from the East, specifically in China, where a virus known as the Human Metapneumovirus, or hMPV for short, is causing concern. This virus is not entirely new, but its recent outbreak is noteworthy. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal? It's just another virus, right? Well, hold on to that thought, because the hMPV virus bears striking similarities to the flu and even to COVID-19. This virus, much like its infamous counterparts, causes symptoms akin to the common cold. And in some cases, it can lead to severe outcomes, particularly in individuals with pre-existing lung conditions. The recent outbreak in China, specifically in the northern provinces, has primarily affected older children. Despite the lack of specific treatment or vaccine, public health measures are in place to curb its spread. But the question remains, so can the hMPV virus in China cause a widespread chaos just like the COVID-19? How does the hMPV virus spread? As we've learned, the hMPV virus is a relatively new player on the global health stage, but it's making waves, particularly in China. But how exactly does this virus move from person to person? Well, much like the flu or COVID-19, the hMPV virus spreads through droplets or aerosols. Picture this: when someone infected with the hMPV virus sneezes, coughs, or even just talks, they release tiny droplets into the air. These droplets can be inhaled by people nearby, or they might land on surfaces where they can survive for hours. If you touch these contaminated surfaces and then touch your face, you could potentially contract the virus. And once the virus is inside your body, it doesn't waste any time. The incubation period of hMPV is typically between 3 to 5 days. That means it can take as little as 3 days from the time you're exposed to the virus for symptoms to start appearing. But not everyone is equally at risk. The hMPV virus seems to have a particular affinity for older children. Perhaps it's because their immune systems are still developing, or maybe it's because they tend to be in close contact with others in settings like schools. But whatever the reason, this is a group that appears to be particularly vulnerable. And then there are those with pre-existing lung conditions. For these individuals, an encounter with the hMPV virus can lead to severe outcomes. Their already compromised respiratory system can struggle to fight off the virus, leading to complications and, in some cases, hospitalization. So, we're dealing with a virus that spreads easily, affects vulnerable populations, and can lead to severe outcomes. Sound familiar? It's a pattern we've seen before, and it's a pattern that could potentially lead to a significant public health crisis. Could we be on the brink of another pandemic? Stay tuned as we continue to delve into the impact of the hMPV virus in our next scene. What are the potential impacts of an hMPV outbreak? Now, that's a question that's been popping up quite a bit, especially with the recent health alert in Cambodia regarding the surge of hMPV cases in China. Let's take a moment to consider the effects of this virus. Much like the flu and the infamous COVID-19, hMPV causes symptoms similar to the common cold. That means we're talking about stuffy noses, coughs, sore throats, and even fevers. Now, that might not sound too threatening, but here's where it gets tricky. In certain individuals, hMPV can lead to severe outcomes. Older children seem to be primarily affected by this virus, but those with pre-existing lung conditions are also at risk. Imagine having a respiratory illness only to contract another one on top of it. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. And with an incubation period of 3 to 5 days, hMPV can spread quickly before people even realize they're sick. In China, there's been a rise in hMPV cases, particularly in the northern provinces. And the majority of these cases, they involve individuals under the age of 14. So, we're looking at a virus that spreads quickly, affects the young, and can exacerbate existing health conditions. Sound familiar? It's a scenario eerily similar to the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. But there's another aspect to consider. Unlike COVID-19, there's currently no specific treatment or vaccine for hMPV. That leaves us with public health measures as our primary defense, measures like wearing masks, maintaining hygiene, and avoiding crowded areas. Now, I don't know about you, but this paints a rather concerning picture. A potential hMPV outbreak could have far-reaching impacts, not unlike those we've seen with COVID-19. But what can we do to protect ourselves from this virus? Well, stick around and we'll delve into that in our next scene. What measures can we take to prevent the spread of the hMPV virus? Let's get into it. We've learned that hMPV is similar to the flu and COVID-19, and it's causing a rise in infections, especially among children. However, it's important to note that there's currently no specific treatment or vaccine for this virus. So what can we do? Well, the answer lies in prevention. Prevention is our most effective weapon against the hMPV virus. And the good news is, many of the preventative measures we've become accustomed to during the COVID-19 pandemic are equally effective against hMPV. So let's dive into these measures. First and foremost, wearing masks is crucial. The hMPV virus spreads through droplets or aerosols, much like the flu and COVID-19. Therefore, wearing a mask can significantly reduce the chances of infection. It's not just about protecting ourselves, but also protecting those around us, particularly those with pre-existing lung conditions who are most vulnerable to severe outcomes. Maintaining good hygiene is also essential. Regular hand washing with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or using hand sanitizer when soap isn't available, can kill the virus and prevent it from spreading. It's also wise to avoid touching your face as much as possible, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. Lastly, avoiding crowded areas can help limit the spread of the virus. The more people in an area, the higher the risk of transmission. If you must be in a crowded place, try to maintain social distancing as much as possible. While these measures may seem simple, they are incredibly effective in curbing the spread of hMPV and other respiratory illnesses. It's about being mindful of our actions and taking responsibility for our health and the health of those around us. Remember, prevention is always better than cure. Let's keep these preventative measures in mind and do our part to prevent the spread of the hMPV virus. Are we ready to face another potential health crisis? This question brings us to the end of our exploration today. We've journeyed through the realms of the hMPV virus, its transmission, impact, and the preventive measures we can all take. The hMPV virus, much like flu and COVID-19, has shown its potential to affect us, particularly our young ones. Its spread in China, especially in the northern provinces, is a cause for attention. However, remember, knowledge and vigilance are our best defenses. We've seen how this virus spreads through droplets or aerosols, with an incubation period of 3 to 5 days. We've also understood the importance of public health measures like wearing masks, maintaining hygiene, and avoiding crowded areas in curbing the spread of hMPV and other respiratory illnesses. There's no specific treatment or vaccine yet, but our collective actions can make a significant difference. Let's stay informed, aware, and safe. The world is an ever-changing place filled with mysteries, wonders, and sometimes challenges like the hMPV virus. So let's keep our curiosity alive, because it's what leads us to understanding and overcoming such challenges. Subscribe for more amazing content and keep wondering about the world around you.
You have questions in your soul, ready to learn. In every path, hope will be within